we have exclusive, I'm not even joking, exclusive New York Giants news that we will share with you later on in the program. But I just need to clap. I need to clap. I need to stand up and clap. I need to salute somebody who gets a lot of crap around here. I need to salute somebody who gets criticized all the time around here. And I need to hand it to a guy who played all of you like a fiddle. And I knew it. I freaking knew it. I had mentioned it casually about a month ago. Not going to brag, because this isn't about me. This is about him. And he deserves your credit. He deserves an apology. He deserves a round of applause, because, ladies and gentlemen, Brian Cashman
We're in it to win it.
Did it again. Y'all believed in Caleb Durbin?
Yeah, remember that guy whose name Sean couldn't remember?
Yeah, remember that guy? Oh, Caleb Durbin's going to be our third baseman. Caleb Durbin. Guys, they fooled you. And there's nothing to be mad about. Be happy about this. Brian Cashman has done a lot throughout his career. One of the things he does brilliantly is pump up guys. Remember Jesus Montero?
Right.
And what he did today is he pumped up Caleb Durbin to the point, and then he pairs that with Nestor Cortez, and he brings back one of the best closers in Major League Baseball. That's what Brian Cashman did today, Tiki, as an IBO. I give him a round of applause.
Right, it's just damn impressive. Damn impressive. Because Caleb Durbin, he came up on the show randomly.
Yes.
Like a month and a half ago or so.
Yes.
And I was like, who? And all of a sudden it was like all of this Twitter hate, or what the hell? You guys don't know anything about the farm system. And quickly he became the most important, even though not highest rated, prospect in the Yankees farm system.
He's not even a rated prospect.
Exactly.
He's not a top 100 prospect. He's a guy who last year, and we all love the idea of a Caleb Durbin. He's 5'7". He's feisty. He could be the future. He came out of nowhere. He was in the Brave system. Now he's in the Yankee system. This is a guy. This was unbelievably brilliant. I am actually jealous of the brilliance of Brian Cashman, that he was able to pump up Caleb Durbin enough. And the other part I love about it is that he fooled guys like Sean Morash, where they were like, Caleb Durbin's going to be our second baseman. He's going to be great.
I know.
Meanwhile, he manipulated you. He manipulated the Brewers. And he turned it into Devin Williams.
He didn't manipulate me, because I was like, who? I'm like, what? I don't know who the hell that is.
He didn't manipulate me, but all I was telling you is they're hyping up this guy. I never heard of him. Arizona
You
Fall League.
believed it. The point is, what Evan is saying is that you, just like all of the other massive Yankee fans, and including the Milwaukee Brewers, they believed it. They believed it. They didn't question it. Like me, who the hell is that? They didn't question it. They just believed it.
Well, because you know what it is.
Yeah, what is it? I'd love to know.
You have to realize we have to go back 20 steps here. A lot of Yankee fans, arrogantly like me, assumed the Yankees would keep Juan Soto and spend an inordinate amount of money, and then they wouldn't sign anybody else or go anywhere else.
So you needed guys like Caleb Durbin.
You needed a cheap alternative to throw your weight behind and believe in. So the moment Soto flew out the door on Sunday night, Caleb Durbin might as well, too, because you weren't going to sell the fan base on this guy who's not a top 10 prospect play. Suddenly we gave up that dream.
Well, guess what? This all worked out. This is one of those laughs where we can all laugh together. Who cares if you got fooled?
Good point.
Caleb Durbin played 80-somewhat games in AAA. Most people had heard of him, but he wasn't a top prospect. And Brian Cashman, on this beautiful Friday the 13th, was able to turn him and a guy that was clearly going to be off this roster because the Yankees don't have room for Nasty Nestor anymore, into an elite closer. That's what Brian Cashman was able to do. He didn't trade Jason Dominguez. He didn't trade Spencer Jones. He didn't trade George Lombard Jr. He didn't trade Chase Hampton. He didn't trade Everson Pereira. He didn't trade He didn't trade any of his top prospects. And what the New York Yankees were able to do was go out and get, to me, one of the three best closers in baseball. To me, there are three elite closers in Major League Baseball as an IBO.
Go ahead.
One is Edwin Diaz, one is Emmanuel Clase, and the other is Devin Williams.
Luke Weaver? Oh, sorry.
Luke Weaver?
I was going to say, are we even positive Williams is closing?
Yes,
Dreamweaver.
we are positive Devin Williams is closing.
I think yes.
I'm glad you asked that question. Number one, Devin Williams is in a contract year. So here's the negative if you want to find one. He's a free agent at the end of the year. This is where Tommy would turn the mic on and say, and if Steve Cohen wants him, he'll just buy him away. You want to do it?
And if Steve Cohen wants him, he'll just buy him away.
To be a setup man.
To be a setup man, right.
Yeah, sure.
Right. Once he gets
Definitely. I'm going to leave the Yankees because they stink so bad, and I'm going to go to the Mets to take a demotion. Yeah, that'll be perfect.
He's leaving for the better team.
The point is, Devin Williams is a free agent.
One thing you don't recognize, Tommy, athletes have egos.
They do. And by
Massive ones.
the way, speaking of which, that's why Devin Williams is the closer of this team.
Yes,
I mean, let's
exactly.
just start right there. Luke Weaver closed for a month. He did a really good job, by the way. And if the Yankees didn't acquire Devin Williams, Luke Weaver would be the closer. But when you go out and you get one of the better closers in baseball, again, in my humble opinion, there are 3 elite closers in baseball. Josh Hader's a 4th. I should include Hader. I don't want to be a hater.
See what you did
You
there?
like that? So I'll include Hader, too. So you got 4 elite closers in baseball. You bring him in, and there are risks. Number one, like I mentioned, he's a free agent at the end of the year, which means if he has this dominant season closing, he's going to ask for Edwin Diaz money. He's going to ask for $100 million. That's a problem for next year. And because you didn't give up prime prospect capital, I wouldn't worry about it. Concern number 2 is he had a stress fracture in his back last year. And so you tell me as the professional athlete, is that something that could crop up again?
It really depends on where it was and what it specifically was. It doesn't sound like this was like a disc issue. A stress fracture is more like what Tyler Newbin had. And it's funny because we were talking about Tyler Newbin, how he had that broken bone or whatever, lumbar fracture.
Yeah.
It was actually the exact same thing that I had when I was in college. Remember I said I broke a transverse process?
Yeah.
It's exactly what he did. So maybe it was something like that.
Do you want me to tell you what it is?
What
Do you
is
know
it?
enough about backs? It is a T12 thoracic vertebrae, and there were stress fractures in the L4, L5 region, which I don't know what that means. All I know is that he missed a significant amount of time last year with a back issue. The good news is when he came back, he was utterly brilliant,
right?
Which he's basically been his entire career. He's a brilliant closer when he's available. He's had injuries in the past, so that is a fair concern, especially when you have a guy for only 1 season potentially. You need him to stay out there. Now, the good news is I think the Yankees are equipped that their bullpen, and their bullpens are always good. That's a credit to Brian Cashman. Like, year after year, you can change the names. They always have a really good bullpen.
Yeah, the only issue, just I had to look it up.
Yep.
The L4, L5, and I kind of knew this because BT had this issue a little bit, is low. It's like low in your back. So that low back pain can become really bothersome. And if it's not managed correctly, it can become an issue. It can become debilitating.
Right.
So obviously, it doesn't sound like it's that because he did come back and he pitched pretty fantastic.
He was amazing until
1.25 ERA.
Until the
whatever it was.
playoffs. We'll get to that later.
Whatever. That's just what it is.
Yeah.
We're not worried about the playoffs.
Well, we
yet.
will be.
We will be eventually, but not yet. More importantly is who is he and how healthy is he?
Yeah, and I think that back question, by the way, is more for at the end of next year, are you willing to give him a 5-year, $100 million deal?
Yes.
Because that's going to be one of the questions you have. Are you willing to do that? But he's an elite level closer. He throws what they call an airbender, which is an unhittable pitch, unless you're Pete Alonso. And he is an elite level closer. And so that's why if you are a New York Yankee fan on this Friday afternoon and you are beginning the process of Plan B, well, so far, here's what you've done in Plan B. And you got a lot of work to do, but it's one step at a time. You've added an elite level starting pitcher, one of the better left-handers in all of baseball, in Max Fried. You can get nuts about the money all you want. I'm just talking about 2025. They've added a really good left-hander in Max Fried. And now they've gone out and added one of the 4 best closers in Major League Baseball. And quite frankly, they gave up very little. They gave up a Nestor Cortez that you knew wasn't going to be on this team next year based on the additions of Max Fried. And you gave up a guy who you hyped up and had Yankee fans believing was the next Jose Altuve.
Right. You got Ang. You guys don't know what I'm talking about.
No. What's that?
Ang.
Yeah.
It's the Avatar. The Last Airbender.
Oh, you like that? Is that where Devin got the nickname for that changeup from?
I don't know. Maybe.
All I know is he's got an unhittable pitch. Now, I want to do this without trolling, okay? Because I swear to you, that's Loogie's job. That is not my job. Devin Williams, not just Pete Alonso, not just what happened this year, has a very brief history in the postseason, but it's not good. And I do think that when you are a New York Yankee fan, you always think about that. You not only think about, hey, can this guy dominate, but what is he going to do in the postseason?
Yeah, you definitely do, because we do this with Aaron Judge, who has 2 MVPs.
Yes, we do. If we do it with Aaron Judge, we're going to do it with everybody.
Right. We did it with the 1 year that Garrett Cole had a bad postseason.
Yeah, the one bad start against the Red Sox. Yep. Devin Williams has only made 3 appearances in the postseason, okay? Only 3. So let's be fair about that experience. 2 of them have been bleep shows. 2 of them have been horrors. The one we all remember, which I know Met fans will whip out the troll on, is how his Milwaukee Brewer career ended. When Pete Alonso went Oppo Taco and put chills down all of our spines. I will give you good news about that. You guys want good news about that?
Sure.
That Emmanuel Clase did it too.
Emmanuel Clase did do it. Good call, by the way. No, he was tipping his pitches. He was. Like, that's the beauty of what happened. John Boy did a great video about that sequence.
That's right. I remember this.
Where the Mets knew Jeremy Barnes, who is one of the hitting coaches that the Mets have, knew what was coming.
Yeah.
And so Pete Alonso was smartened up to know what was coming. If the Yankees can clean that stuff up, and that's obviously really, really important, you can at least sack up that home run to that. Now, what happened against the Diamondbacks in 2023 when he came into Game 1 of their wild card series and he, wanted the bet and walked 3 guys? I can't answer. So that is a small thing in the back of your mind because obviously, especially if he's only here for a year, as a team that went to the World Series last year, your expectations are not just can he be a dominant closer, it's can he get the big outs in October? And Devin Williams, very tiny, I admit, has a resume of someone who has not.
Yeah, and Emmanuel Clase is not the only guy who's been through this. This is a Major League Baseball problem where these relievers could be so fickle. The whole deal here with getting Devin Williams, and this is why I brought up is he even going to close, and we obviously understand he will, is you just want strong depth at that back end because you want to know once you get to the postseason, look, if he's showing any signs of that, tipping pitches, wearing down, you have a Weaver to go to, you have a Loizier to go to. You could change up roles and be versatile at the back end, which I think needed to be the Yankees' approach here. Yeah. And I like the position they're in now.
Well, especially after what they went through last year.
Right.
When, Clay Holmes couldn't find it or kept blowing saves, and then it was like scrambling. Right. You knew they were a playoff team, and as you're going down the stretch, you're like, all right, we're going to the playoffs, but who the hell is our closer? And that's a tough spot to be in because you start to get panicked knowing that it's going to cost you a game at some point, and most likely an important game, likely in the postseason. To be honest, they got lucky that Luke Weaver evolved into the guy that he became at the end of the season.
Right.
Because otherwise, they probably don't get to the ALCS or even certainly not to the World Series.
Yeah, and look, I've said this consistently about playoff performances. Obviously, if Devin Williams comes to the New York Yankees, pitches to a 1.25 ERA and dominates, but he implodes in the postseason, Yankee fans are going to remember that more than the regular season. And that's obvious, and we get that.
But you know what they'll do? They'll say, great, I'm glad we only had him for a year.
That's true.
It's a silver line. But look, he's almost, this is a prove-it year. We know this. For him.
Yeah, he has a chance to get paid big.
He has a real chance to get paid big. Again, he's not going to the Mets because there's no chance that he's gonna be the closer there. But it's his opportunity to have a humongous payday.
I also don't believe, and this is maybe where I'll differ with some baseball fans, I don't believe that a sample size of 3 games is proof enough that he can't handle October. Like, when I think back to that moment, and it's weird, and maybe it's ironic, and maybe it's funny for Met fans who want to troll, but the most iconic moment from the New York Mets season involved Devin Williams. That's not a troll, that's a fact. And so Pete Alonso's home run, to me, if you're just asking me, I'm one singular guy, was the most iconic, memorable, insane moment from this Mets season.
You don't think Lindor?
No.
Going yard to get you into the postseason?
No.
Okay.
I'll tell you, but I don't want to get into that because this isn't about that, but we can have that debate at some point, especially when the rankings continue to come out in the 24 and 24. So we'll see what the results are according to the panel.
You're telling us that Pete is number 1.
I have no idea. I didn't make the list.
I know you didn't. I'm just telling you.
So why are you telling me if it was up to me, then maybe it would be. But here's my point about this to the Yankee fan out there, because I know Loogie's just going to troll the crap out of you, and so are Met fans. I don't believe Devin Williams gave up a home run to Pete Alonso because he was choking. I don't believe Devin Williams struggled in that game because he can't handle October. To me, 3 games are not enough of an example of that. And I believe when you are a great player, and through the regular season, a sample size of about 6 years, some of those seasons cut short, one because of the pandemic, a few because of injuries, Devin Williams is one of the most brilliant relievers in baseball. Those are just the facts. And I tend to believe that that's who he is. And I tend to believe that if you give a guy like that enough opportunities in a big spot, he's going to show you who he is. So I'm not afraid of it, but that's on his resume. The back issue, I don't know. Like, the back issue is one of those things where...
Well, he came back from it, so you can't really worry about it?
I only worry
until
about
it becomes an issue.
I only worry about it popping up. That would be my only worry. Like, you're right. He came back from it, and he pitched incredibly well.
Yeah, but I just think of these L4, L5 things because I'm remembering BT's issue. Mm-hmm. It just never goes away until you get it fixed.
Right.
Now, he didn't get it fixed.
No,
right?
I think it was rest with him.
Yes, and so you worry that it'll come back.
Well, here's the really good news to Yankee fans. Don't think about 2026. This move, especially with what you gave up, which I'm telling you, I think is hilarious what they gave up. They gave up a starting pitcher who's also a free agent at the end of the year that you have no use for because you already have a loaded enough rotation where he was never going to see it, and an overhyped up non-prospect that became a prospect to a few Yankee fans. That's literally what you gave up for this elite closer. So let the season play out. Let him dominate. And then a year from now, we'll have a very interesting discussion about if you want to keep him long term. But in the short term, here's what I know. The New York Yankees lost an elite bat, and they've got work to do to fix that in the lineup. They have added a top-of-the-rotation arm who's going to be a number 2 here, and they've added one of the 4 best closers in Major League Baseball.
And by the way, I think it's a smart pivot because it's not a direct pivot. It's not, we lost Juan Soto, let's go try to find Juan Soto light, even though they kind of are still trying with Kyle Tucker, even though I think that's dead, as Evan and I talked about at the end of the show yesterday. So it's not replace Soto with a Soto light. Let's go shore up the more important side of this. Pitching wins in the postseason.
Well, you said after they lost Soto, what's their identity? Here's the Yankees' identity.
And they're defining themselves.
Yeah, good luck scoring runs against them.
Yeah.
That's the identity. They've got a great top of the rotation, and now, especially if you believe in Luke Weaver, which I do and most of us do, you have yourself a hell of a good back end of the bullpen.
They had to improve outside of just signing Juan Soto, which they didn't do. So now you look at the team, it's Nestor Cortez out of the rotation and Clay Holmes out of the back end. Instead, Max Fried and Devin Williams there. That is an upgrade in both ways. That's the way I look at it. And also, just get up for a minute. Thank you, Nestor Cortez, while we're all enjoying today.
Yes.
Nestor Cortez was basically a self-made, worked his ass off Yankee, gave the Yankee fans a lot of fun. It sucks that he'll kind of be remembered for what happened in Game 1, not really the way you want to go out. But ultimately, I think Nestor Cortez was a good Yankee, and I'd be remiss if I didn't say thank you.
Nestor Cortez.
Oh, I'm going to miss that.
Right, me too. But you know what? I don't even blame Game 1 on him. I know he technically...
No, I blame it on Boone.
But I blame it more on Boone. Just when you rethink about... I had to see if he had it. If you're questioning whether or not he had it or not, so he had 2 guys up, then he doesn't have it. You know what I mean?
You're right.
If you have to question it, then you know the answer. I don't even blame Nestor for that. I kind of forget it. I choose to remember his All-Star season where he was just the funnest guy to think about on that team.
I think that's the healthy way to look at it because Nestor Cortez is one of those guys that literally came out of nowhere, became this really, really fun story, and became a really solid New York Yankee.
Yes.
When you look at what he accomplished here in the parts of 5 seasons he was here, Nestor Cortez was a wonderful story. And this whole trade, as uncomfortable as this is for Sean Morash and others, this whole trade is a testament to Brian Cashman.
I agree.
Because Nestor Cortez came from nothing, turned him into pretty good value. Caleb Durbin all of a sudden is the most hyped up next Jose Altuve in the world, and he was able to take both of those guys and turn it into one of the best closers in Major League Baseball. So Yankee fans, as you enjoy your Friday, at some point, whether it's calling us up at 888-808-1019, whether it's tweeting to your friends, whether it's texting your friends, whether it's talking to family members, take a moment to thank Brian Cashman.
Thank you, Brian Cashman.
Thank you, Brian Cashman.
I'll do it as well.
Go ahead, Sean.
I'll say thank you when we see what we did with the lineup.
By the way, I'm on MLB.com/Yankees.
Yes.
Just checking it out. Just wanted to read the stories that are out there. The first one is obviously Yankees land Williams and trade with crew. That's a source. You just go down a couple. I just wanted to flip down a couple.
Yeah.
You know what the third story is? Yankees' best catches of 2024. And you know who's the cover picture? Aaron Judge. What are you doing, MLB.com?
I mean, he did make some great catches.
He did, but you can't put that on the cover.
It's spicy because the ball sold today that he dropped.
It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Put anything. Greatest home runs that the Yankees hit this year.
You got to tell me, how much did that ball go for? Because they were, Sean's right, the L.A. Dodgers, I think, were the team that doing it. They sold the ball that Judge dropped in the World Series.
Yeah, I got $46,000.
$46,000. Let me raise my hand and say this about the L.A. Dodgers. They are classless pigs. No, they really are.
Was it a Dodger fan that bought it?
The name is S. Cohen.
You're funny.
Me and Stevie went in on it. We split it.
I don't mind anyone buying it. It's a great collectible. But jokes aside, I think the L.A. Dodgers are classless pigs for putting that up for sale. I really do. You have a lot of great moments from this year, and that's a troll. That's all that is. That is a major troll on the New York Yankees.
The Dodgers put it up for sale?
The Dodgers put it up for sale.
How did they have it?
I think they had it because it was in the World Series. Who else has that baseball, right? It was a drop pop-up. It must have come out of play. Maybe Dave Roberts put it in his pocket.
But it was at Yankee Stadium.
I don't know how they got it.
So wouldn't it have, if it went out of play, it goes to the Yankee ball boys?
Or maybe good moments for your team in the postseason goes to the team that had it. I just think that's classless.
It's not a good moment. I mean, I guess it is, but
it's a good moment for the Dodgers. But I'll give you an example. I'll give you an example on my consistency on this. If the New York Yankees, and the Yankees won't, because as much as we bust on the Yankees and the Mets, the Yankees are a classy organization. Yeah. I think we all agree with that. The Yankees would never sell the Luis Castillo ball. I don't think they would. I think they're above that. I think the Dodgers showed who they are. They're a bunch of classless pigs. And I'll be the one to say it as a non-Yankee fan. But I think them selling the Aaron Judge drop just shows us exactly who they are.
No, that's true. Because I can't imagine the Yankees selling that.
No, because they're better than that.
Right.
They truly are.
They would burn it.
Oh, the Judge drop ball.
Yes.
Yes, that they would burn. But they would not sell the Luis Castillo drop pop-up.
No.
Never.
I wonder if they even still have it.
That's a great question. I have no idea.
Well, we haven't heard about it.
Yeah. I'm going to investigate. I would buy it just to blow it up. That's what I would do. We'll get to your calls next, Yankee fans. The Yankees cap off this week at the winter meetings by acquiring one of the best closers in baseball. How does it make you feel? Are you still pissed about Soto? Are you happy about their direction? And we will try to answer a very important question coming up. Is Juan Soto fat? 888-808-1019.